You're listening to Success Stalkers Radio, episode 25 with Lisa Marie.
Hey everybody, this is Ian Floyd from the Love and Sensibility Podcast, and you're tuned into my girl Ioana Garrett on the Success Stalkers Radio Show.
Welcome to Success Stalkers Radio. I am your host, Ioana Garrett. People all over the globe are rewriting the rules to success. They're making money and changing the world. Join me Monday through Friday as I interview today's top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and entertainers that will leave you inspired to take action and achieve success on purpose. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Okay, Success Stalkers, let's get started. I am your host, Ioana Garrett, and this is another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. I am simply thrilled to introduce my guest today, Lisa Marie Lewis. So, Lisa, are you ready to stalk some success today?
I am ready. I am more than ready.
Awesome. Good deal. I'm so excited today to have you on the show. Well, Lisa has worked in the beauty industry for the last 18 years. She has explored all areas of the industry, including skincare, makeup, and hair services. For the last 8 years, she has focused on developing her craft as an educator. And previously, she has worked at the Veda Institute, Las Vegas, as the advanced educator, helping to train students for the second phase of their education. She's also worked for Paul Mitchell, the school, in Las Vegas and in Tulsa, Oklahoma, as the core leader, texture specialist, learning leader advisor to her last position as the education leader. And in 2008, Lisa authored 3 children's books for ages 5 through 14, titled Creative Short Stories for Smart Kids, A Small Town's Carnival, and Who Said Acting Isn't Therapy. In 2010, she created an independent audiobook titled A Woman's Signature. She's very committed to making women feel both beautiful internally and through self-esteem workshops, and externally through a variety of services, which is why she is now currently the owner of Beauty Blackbook, which is a company that offers styling sessions and effective tools for any professional looking to polish their image. So Lisa, I've given our listeners just a little overview. So take a minute, tell us about you personally because we want to get to know you. Then give us an overview of your business.
Well, I would say personally, first I'm definitely a, woman of God. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I come from a large family. There's 7 of us in my family, so I'm from a big household. As far as my background, a lot of people look at my background and they're like, it seems like you have a really diverse background. And they can't really imagine how some of those things go together, but really it's all an ultimate fit. For me, every position that I've been in, from the beginning stages of my career to now, each one has led to the next step. One thing that I really try to do in my life every day is just pay attention. I feel like there's always little signs and messages, and it's just a matter of us, making sure that we're recognizing that and then using that to encourage us on our next part of our journey.
Well, Lisa, we are definitely going to get more into that and dive more deeper into your journey in just a little bit. But before we do, we always like to start off Success Stalkers Radio with a success quote, if you have one. So if you do, take it away.
Oh, my goodness. I have one lately that just really speaks to me every single time I even hear it or think about it, and it's run scared. A lot of times I'll tell different people, we have a conversation as you meet, different people and you're networking and they're asking you different questions. And they're like, well, you were really courageous when you did that. Or, you had a lot of confidence when you did that. And it was like half of the things that I've done and still do to this day, I've done them scared. So I had the butterflies. I had the feeling of, oh, Lord, I don't know if this is going to work, but I did it anyways. So sometimes you just have to put yourself out there and just run scared.
Girl, you are speaking my language. I can resonate with that because, even with this radio show, I wanted to do this for a long time as I was kind of, sharing with you before we started. And, I am really putting myself out there right now, to
Right.
say the very least, to start something like this because, and I was terrified really to get started, and I made every excuse, I kept making up things as to why I wasn't ready and I didn't
Right.
have this, I didn't have that, and finally one of my mentors was like, okay, if you don't do this right now, then just don't even talk to me about it anymore, And I was like, okay, so I got to do something. So, but I can resonate with what you're saying because everything I've done in my life, pretty much even my past businesses, I was terrified, but I did it
Right.
anyway. And
Absolutely.
I found out once I started, it got a little easier each day. And so, yeah, very, very key for all of those, our listeners, is to get that message of just get started, whether you're scared or not.
Well, I think so many times that we're worried about, what if I fail and what if this doesn't work? It's like, if you haven't started it, you don't even have the possibility of it failing.
True.
You have to first start for anything to fail. So I think
Absolutely.
just having that in the forefront of our minds, whether it be something personal that you want to conquer, something professional, just running scared and just making sure that that's something that, it'll work at the end if you put the work into it.
Right. You're right, because if you don't start, you fail because you don't start. That's
Right.
really the ultimate failure. It's not getting started. So good deal. Good deal. Well, Lisa, also here at Success Talkers Radio, we're all about the story of our guests, the journey. And so I know you've had quite an amazing journey, but before we get more into that, what I want to focus on here is a possible failure or maybe a significant challenge you had in the past that maybe you probably even fell either flat on your face or flat on your back, and take us there with you. Remember, we want to feel like we're right there next to you when you share that with us, and then tell us some lessons that you learned from it.
Okay, I can, one in particular, and it's actually something really personal, but it definitely has been one of those times in my life where it really has shaped me personally, professionally, in every aspect. I've grown from this particular time in my life. I was married years back, and I had a great husband. We had a great partnership. We had a lot of things in common. We enjoyed spending time together. We were a great support for one another. But for me, coming from a large family, I had always wanted to be a mom. That was like at the top of my list. Any list that I had, mom was on the top of it. And, I kept asking my husband, which she was a little bit older, I'm like, when are we going to have kids? When are we going to have kids? And at that time, he wasn't able to have kids. I kind of had the inkling that I was not able as well, but nothing was confirmed. So we had agreed that we were going to adopt before we got married, So we kept having this discussion. I kept bringing it up, and I would never get an answer. So I finally told him, listen, after asking for, I think, 8 months, is this something that we are going to do or not? Because if we're not, it's going to be a deal breaker because this is just something that I'm not willing to compromise on. And, long story short, I wind up ending that marriage because based on his desire not to want to have kids when I thought we were on the same game plan the whole time. So I left that, and, everyone was asking, oh, my God, I can't believe you guys are getting divorced. I can't believe that. And then shortly after that, I started getting sick in different avenues and then did discover that I'm unable to have children. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I know this is something that you placed in me, and you placed it in me for a reason. And if you placed it in me, it's going to have to happen in some way. I don't know what the avenue is going to be, but I'm willing to discover it. So I went through, this whole long process of, getting ill and having different things happen to me health-wise, and really into the position of, okay, if this is something that I really want for my life, I'm going to have to make the first step. So I started looking into adoption, and I went through the whole process as a single woman, and then I wound up getting my son. And not only did I gain my son, when I first got, oh, you've been selected for Christian, and you're going to be his adoptive resource, and, we want to let you know that he also has autism. I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I read the description that said developmental delays, which could be speech. It could be a whole lot of different things. And he has been the biggest blessing for my life. And me doing that and knowing that it was something that I had deeply rooted, and even though it took me years to get to the place where I actually had the action to, facilitate it, going through that process, it has made me so much stronger in so many different areas, and it showed me, not only what I'm capable of, but what God's capable of doing in my life if I allow him to do it. So that just for me has been, it was a failure, but it wound up leading to a great success for me.
Absolutely. Lisa, that is just a powerful story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're
Wow.
welcome. You're welcome.
I'm sure your son is a blessing.
He is. He is just a bundle of joy. He has so much energy. He keeps me on my toes like every single day.
And he's adorable. I see his pictures on Facebook. He's adorable.
Thank you. I'm just so grateful that I listened to my gut. Otherwise I would have never received that gift. And motherhood is one of the best gifts that God gives us. So
you're so right.
A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, you did such a great thing," and I'm thinking to myself, He has blessed much and molded me so much that the part that I'm giving to Him, I never will feel like it's enough to what He's giving to me.
Right. Oh yes, I know exactly what you mean. Well, Lisa, we're going to go forward and transition to the other end of the spectrum, which is what we call here at Success Talkers Radio, the aha moment, that light bulb moment, if you will. Because just like you've had some lessons that you learned, from the past, you've also had some amazing ideas, that have helped you to become successful today in your business. So if you can, just tell us one, Lisa. And remember, this is a story. We want you to take us there with you when you had that aha moment that has now helped you to become successful.
Oh, goodness. One story that I could think of that definitely was a light bulb moment for me that I had to go through a bit of a transition. I actually wind up moving here to Tulsa from Vegas. I accepted a position that I really for. I'm like, I want that position. I feel like I'm the right candidate. I'm the one that needs to be getting on the plane to go there. So I wind up, after fighting for that position, and I came here, and I started working for Paul Mitchell here, and I worked for Paul Mitchell back home, and I was working as the education leader, which was, it was a big challenge for me because it was a position that I had never done, and then I came here in a new environment. I had never lived, outside of Vegas, which is my hometown. So all my family, friends, my largest support system is always going to be there, at least for now. So I moved into that position, which was really challenging in a lot of different ways. And there was a lot of things that I wind up being responsible for that I didn't anticipate, let's just say. And, after doing that position for about a year and a half, I wound up losing my job.
Wow.
So I went through, the shame of I had never been fired. I never lost my job. I went through guilt because I was like, okay, what part did I really play in making this decision? I went through anger and I was confused with all these different emotions. So it was a little bit of a dark time. And then, I kept looking for ways. I'm like, God, I need to find an answer. I need to know why this happened, why I had to come all the way from Vegas to Tulsa, bring my son, bring my now husband, uproot our whole lifestyle to be here. And what was the purpose? So I was really searching. So I wind up, watching different videos, reading different books, and I was, I'm a note taker. So I take notes on everything. I'm like, okay, I heard that. I want to keep that, reflect back on that. And I wind up, watching this video. It was a T.D. Jakes video, something about purpose. And I remember him having a white shirt on and jeans. And I played this video, honestly, like 7 times. In one afternoon. This wasn't even one day, one afternoon. And every time I would listen to it, I got something different. And then after that, I was just sitting and I was just really reflecting on the message that he had given and how did that apply, to my life now? Why is it that I went to that video and out of the 16 that were listed? And I finally heard something, and it was so clear. It was like my husband talking to me, like in my face. Like, it was that clear. And it was like God saying, okay, are you going to work that hard for me now?
Wow.
So let me tell you, I was working when I was off. I was working before I went to work. I was working on break. I was working late at night. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, okay, I've done all of this. And somehow in that, I was able to edge God out. So now it was like full circle. It's like, okay, you've done all this. That's great. You've accomplished it. You've learned a lot. You've grown a lot. But are you going to work that hard for me? What are you going to do now that's present, that's going to help spread not only my word, but give me the glory that I know that I'm worthy of? Mm-hmm. When are you going to do that? And when I tell you, that made me get right up and refocus on, okay, there's something else that I need to be doing, and it wasn't that. So as much as that was hurtful for me, it was a blessing, and it was God waking me up and saying, okay, I need your attention now. I had it in the past, and I've had it on several different occasions, but I need you to refocus and get back on track. So that for me was a huge, huge turning point in the direction that, I'm still going towards right now.
That is profound. I really felt like I was right there with you when you were sharing that story. I'm telling you, girl, that is profound. It's amazing how, God will just allow us to really see ourselves, what we're doing. We can be on this like roller coaster or this rat wheel, just going and going and going. And, we think we're having purpose and we think we're doing, the right things. I'm not saying you were doing anything wrong per se, but, was it being, was it meaningful towards God's kingdom, And I just think that's so incredible, how, because I actually was let go from a corporate job myself that I had so much faith in, and was probably one of the highest paying jobs I've ever had in my life, and was let go after a really bad car accident that I was in, and they actually fired me while I was in therapy, and it was just, it was awful. And from that time, I just, one thing just started to spiral down after another, and I won't go into all the details, but through that, I'm telling you, it was a blessing because it has allowed me to really find my true purpose and what I should be doing for God, so I can relate to what you're doing. And I'm telling you, it's been 10 years and I haven't looked back.
That is a good example of, how God can use us if we just are present enough for him to be able to get that access,
right.
And then in that, we're allowed to, it allows us to then be a blessing to someone else.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow, I'm loving this interview, girl. Thank you for sharing that. Well,
you are welcome.
Well, Lisa, let's shift here for just a minute because I want to shine a spotlight on you, okay? I want you to share with us and our listeners, what is your proudest entrepreneurial moment?
Oh, goodness. I would say it would have to be when I executed the project, A Women's Signature. For me, that is one out of all, out of the books that I've done, even out of my company now, for me, that still is something that's really sacred, mainly for what it represents. I kind of went through the journey of, writing the 3 books, the children's books, and, publishing those and finding an illustrator. Like, there's so many things that are involved that, you just don't really realize when you're at Barnes and Nobles and you're picking up a book, right? Mm-hmm. So I did that project. I did the research, who did I want to cover, who was going to actually record the session, how was I going to produce it. But really what it represents, it has 14 monologue style, stories of women and how you can look at a woman and you have this perception like, oh my God, her hair is done, her makeup's done, she's got the best outfit on, her house looks like it's put together, she's married, all of these things that we're just assuming, okay, she's really got that life that I'm just trying to get close to.
Right.
And there's so many other things that are underneath the surface that you're just not aware of, that the person, has battled illness, that they've gone through domestic violence, and all these things that are such they can wind up being demons if you don't deal with them, eternal demons. Absolutely. And I know there's different things that I've gone through. I've been a victim myself of domestic violence in the past, and it was something that it took me years to shake. And when people were like, I can't believe you would have ever tolerated that. And I'm like, that sounds really easy, and I'm glad that you had that perspective. But when you have someone that you're sharing the same space with, and you're like, this is my partner in crime, they would never hurt me. And when they do that, you're just like, you're so baffled by, where did that even come from? How do you go from loving me to hitting me? How do those two correlate? So for me, that project, my long-term goal with that project actually is to have a production, turn it into a production and have it benefit women that have been victims of domestic violence and kind of help them work their way through that. Because that is a journey. And you have to think, it really puts you in a place of self-reflection on, why is it that I feel like I have to tolerate this? Because God definitely didn't create us for that.
Exactly.
So I really want to use that to help women.
That's so powerful. You're really going to touch a lot of women, and I'm so happy that you were able to come on the show today and just share that, because there's going to be people out there listening that have gone through that and so much more. I myself was a victim of domestic violence, and I won't go into that. So it's like I'm listening to you tell this story. I'm listening to this story. I'm like, oh my God, like she's like my twin sister.
Right.
You never know how much you have in common with people because just like you said, under the surface, everybody has this social mask on, every day, and you see people from the outward appearance. They look like they're so well put together. Their hair is done, their makeup's flawless. They may be driving this car, living in this house, but like you said, underneath there's so much turmoil and other things that they've been through, and they need someone to help to pull them out. And I'm so happy to know that you have such a program like this and that you can help women, and whatever we can do to help spread that message, we will.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have found different ways to incorporate that, in my business now, Beauty Blackbook, because I don't want to just work on, different ways to accessorize your outfit. Let's do a styling session so that way you look good. I want to make sure that when they leave, some time with me, that they look good, but they feel good. Because there's so many different things that, we've just learned to Band-Aid, and cover up. And if you really don't deal with those things, they only get larger. They don't get smaller. They get larger. So, I've incorporated those workshops into my company now. So it was, a great way for me to kind of be innovative and, add something else to, what I'm offering for my guests to hopefully, feel the benefit from.
Right, because you give them that personal touch, You can't order things online, and yes, and I'm not knocking any online companies, but when you have a service like yours, you get that one-on-one FaceTime, with women. So that's impactful, very impactful.
Yes, I agree.
Well, Lisa, we both know that being an entrepreneur can sometimes be a roller coaster, of emotions. So, you can be, feeling just like amazing today about your business and what you're doing. And within the next 24, 48 hours, you're like, oh my God, like I want to quit. I can't believe this is happening. I don't want to do this anymore. What do you do? If you can tell us, how do you keep your focus, each day and keep the end result in mind?
I'm a big person on self-inspection. I want to, kind of do what I call a temperature check. I want to say, okay, this is exactly, where do I see myself 3 to 5 years? It always goes back to those type of questions. And what am I doing now that's going to put me on that path? Because you can have some huge dream, some huge goal, but if you don't have an active plan on, okay, I'm going to need to do this step, this step should follow. If you don't have an action plan, then it really just gets to be something that you've hung up on some vision board. It looks good. It winds up being a great conversation piece, but how are you going to get that thing from the vision board into reality? So I'm definitely huge on that, just those temperature checks. Okay, where am I at? Okay, I tried that. Didn't really work so good. What can I do to revise that? Or do I just need to do something completely different? So just evaluate different areas of my business until I find the ultimate plan of what's going to work for not only me, but what's going to work for the type of business that I have in this market. Because every market is completely different.
That's great. That's great advice as well.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, because I know you are a success stalker, Lisa, tell us, do you have any new projects that you're working on? Because I know as entrepreneurs, we always have something,
right,
that we're brewing up. So anything you want to share with us?
Well, right now, and it really just goes back to the branding of my business, I'm currently working on actually Beauty Blackbook, the book. Because I want to have something that I can have a physical tool. We've had the conversation, we've had the session, we've sat down, hopefully built a good relationship with one another, but I also want them to walk away and have something later on to reflect back on. So really just taking things that are important to me, not only as a woman, but also things that are important to me as a beauty industry. I've spent a lot of time working in the industry, in the education side, and it has taught me so much. But it was also a testimony on what I didn't receive when I went to beauty school. So I'm like, okay, what about the person that may not, be able to afford, $20-something in tuition to be able to go to elite school like Paul Mitchell or Aveda? And they have to go to maybe more of a mom and pop, but they still want that information that Paul Mitchell student now is getting, that Aveda now student is getting. I tell people that, my journey with Aveda, it really taught me how to teach, but Paul Mitchell told me why I teach. So really, every company you can get a lesson from. So I'm just looking to pass that lesson on to someone else that's a young industry professional and that wants something to kind of hang on to give them as a tool to be successful, in their own right.
That's excellent. Well, I'm going to make you laugh real quick right here because you said earlier we have so much in common. Well, now, guess what? I'm a licensed hairstylist.
You okay? I thought that. That is crazy that we have that much in common. We have not had a phone conversation yet.
I know, that's terrible.
That is crazy. You may be related. You just never know.
We might be, girl. We just might be. I'm telling you, everything you say, I'm like, wow, like, I feel like she's telling my life story.
That is crazy.
It's amazing. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that later. Yeah, so anyway, well, we have reached what I call the success round,
Okay.
Lisa. And, this is what we do. I love this part because the questions that we ask here are really important because, entrepreneurs out there that are listening to the show, they have a lot of questions about either starting a business or some are already in business and just need, to be rejuvenated or re-energized. And so the questions we're going to ask are really important. So what I want to do here is I'm going to throw some questions at you, and I want you to throw some answers back at me, some knockout answers, so we're going to go back and forth. All right? So what was it that held you back from becoming an entrepreneur before you started?
Oh, goodness. Being comfortable. You get comfortable getting that check every 2 weeks. You get comfortable doing something that you're completely familiar with, and it gets to be routine. So being comfortable.
Yeah, most people want security before they start doing anything.
Right.
What is the best business advice that you've ever received?
Best business advice. Oh my goodness. I would say no. That is huge for me. I think it's huge for women in general. We get to the point where, we say yes to everything. Oh, could you do this? Yes. Could you be a part of this? Yes. And it could not even serve what your mission is. But you're saying yes because you feel obligated. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And now you've connected with something that's put you off of your own path. So I think really just saying no, knowing when that it's something that you should be like, okay, that doesn't align with what I'm looking to do. It doesn't mean that, I don't believe in what you're doing. It's just not for me. So just knowing when to say no.
Right. Let's stay there for a minute because that is critical, girl. So many people don't understand the significance of that because we get caught up. I know I've done that myself, saying yes to everything,
yes.
And it can be detrimental to your business, like you said. And if you don't have a plan, like you said, you have to plan your days and plan it out. But if you allow other things that distractions, let's call it that, a distraction.
Absolutely.
When someone is coming to ask you to do something, if it's not going, now, we're not trying to say that you shouldn't help anyone. Yes,
Absolutely.
you should, but you have to still, you know what I'm saying? You have to make sure you're choosing something that's going to not only help that person, but first you have to remember you are in business and your business has to come first, of course, outside of God being first, but next to that, it's your business. So you have to be so careful about what you allow to get you off course. So that's critical. Thank you for bringing that up. That's good. Good advice. Well, can you share one of your daily personal habits that you have that, you believe that attributes to your success?
Daily. I'm always doing research. I'm huge on research, whether it be, something that I ran across online and now I just want to investigate it more. I watch a lot of different videos of different women in business, different things that are inspiring to me, TED Talks. I read a lot. So just having those things that are always keeping me in the mindset of, okay, what do I need to be doing to grow this business? You could start a business, but then you get to a point where you started it now, but you need to grow it. So I think always taking that time to spend doing those little things will ultimately be, beneficial to not only myself personally, but to me as a business owner as well.
You are just laying it down for us today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You are. I'll tell you, I love what we do here because, I never wanted to have a show that would just be a lot of fluff. You know what I mean? I've heard a lot of interviews sometimes where you just, you have somebody on and you just, you get to the surface, but you don't get
underneath.
Underneath the surface stuff, and people want, like, okay, give me the skinny. I want the skinny. So this is what we're doing here. We want to make sure that we, ask questions, to our guests that they can go away today saying, okay, I can do that in my business. Okay, that's what I've been doing wrong. Okay, that's what I need to change. So thank you so much for providing so much value today on our show. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, Lisa, do you have an internet tool or an internet resource that you can share with our listeners?
Internet research. Oh, I'm really focused on growing in social media. So I think with that, that's, it's a free tool, first of all, and so many people are on it. If you think, you talk to the average person, you're like, how much time are you really spending on Facebook? Are you spending on Instagram?
Right.
So for me, I'm really focused on how can I grow my presence in that area? How can I grow my business? I always want to make sure that, before I post something, I'm like, okay, what will the person on the other end feel? You never want to do things that are catty, that are underhanded. I'm sure that not only am I representing myself well, I want to represent my walk well. My walk with God, my walk as a mother, my walk as a wife. So just making sure that you're conscious of what you're posting. But I'm really looking to maximize those different avenues, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, and really connect those into ultimately growing my business base.
Yeah, that's huge. That's important. Yeah. I mean, we've never been in a better time right now that you can really build your business, through social media and online because, a long time ago, of course, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have all these platforms. Right. And it was just, it was all word of mouth. And word of mouth is still powerful. It's still powerful. But because of the age that we're in, you have to take advantage of the online world because, I mean, think about it. How do you and I connect?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think with the young demographic, it's easy for them to forget the impact that those avenues have, though. It's either going to help you or hurt. And that's something I tell my younger siblings all the time. Be mindful for what you're putting on there. You may delete it, but it has not been erased. Guarantee that. But as you're out, you're applying for different things and you're introducing yourself to different people. They already have a background. Best believe that. So just be mindful of those tools and the way that you're utilizing them.
Oh, yes. So true. So true. Well, Lisa, what book would you recommend to our listeners?
Oh, goodness. I read a lot of different books. Two books that I have read several times throughout the years. One would be Inspiration by Wayne Dyer. He's the person that did The Power of Intention. I bought the book and then I started it, and it was a little bit of a slow start. And I was like, oh, Lord, I don't know if I can get into this book. And, it was one of those books that I bought and I had to pick up later on. I'm sure we all have books like that. And I wound up even buying the audiobook. Oh, my God, that audiobook is crazy. I have listened to that audiobook so many different times. The stories that he tells in that book and living an inspired life and connecting with your purpose and your calling, it's been huge for me, huge.
That's deep. That's deep. I'm happy to get that now.
So, and if you don't get the book, at least get the audiobook because I have both now. And, I listen to the audiobook still a lot. The other one would be 12 Habits for Creative Women, 12 Secrets of Highly Creative Women. That one's another good book. It's a little bit of a workbook. I kind of like books like that I could write in and draw in and copy and paste different things into to kind of make the book your own, and it really gets you to kind of do some self-work as well. So that's another one. That's a good one to pick up, too.
And who's that by?
That one is by, let me think. It's by Gail Meakin.
Yes, indeed. Any other books or?
There's another. I could give you books all day, really. Another one for my teachers. This is awesome. Teach Like Your Hair's on Fire.
Ooh, that sounds like a great book.
Someone told me that book, and it was like when I had first started teaching. So I was like, okay, how do I get this down? How to become a master in the classroom? Like I was looking for anything, and I someone wind up telling me about that book, and I got it. And it is actually a true story, but it really shows you the effect that you have inside of the classroom. You think that, I'm just molding this person's mind and I'm teaching them whatever the subject may be, but you're doing so much more. So really it was just a way to kind of reflect on why did you get into that part of the industry? Why did you ever want to teach? Teachers are so pivotal in our kids' lives. Whether it be the adult learner or a child. So that book for my teaching people, oh, my God.
And it's called Teach Like Your Hair's on Fire.
Teach Like Your Hair's on Fire. And I know the author, it's crazy. When I read that, when I first seen the title, I was like, okay, I got to get it. And then to see that it was a true story, and this was someone that, kind of worked in the inner city and kind of went into a school and kind of just took a bull by the horns and just worked things out. Sometimes you'll get in a situation and you're so involved on, oh, well, we're in this environment. You got to get outside of that. You just got to be real with people. And when they see that, they're able to connect with you, and then you're able to teach them.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, if you can't think of the author, I'll look it up. We'll figure it out. We'll find out. Yeah.
Okay.
No problem. Well, we have reached our last question in the success round, Lisa. And so for just a minute, what I want you to do is to relax for a minute and think about this. I want you to imagine that you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world, identical to Earth, but you knew no one. You still have all of the experience and the knowledge that you currently have today. Your food is taken care of, your shelter is taken care of, and all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do in the next 7 days?
Oh, in the next 7 days. Okay, so I'm not worried about food, right?
Right.
I have that taken care of.
That's taken care of. Food's taken care of.
For me, the first thing I'm going to do, especially when I'm in a new environment, I want to explore. I want to go out. I want to meet some people. I'm definitely one of the people, whatever the culture is at that time, I want to experience some part of it. Like, I'm not going to go, like, for instance, I went to Jamaica. I don't want to go to Jamaica and be on a resort. I want to go to Jamaica and be with the people. Mm-hmm. So wherever I'm at that time, I really just want to get more familiar not only with the environment, but kind of figure out what the culture is, get involved. The laptop, if I have $500, I'm really going to spend it just to have a good time. I don't think we do enough of that. I mean, I'm going to take the fun route. I want to go play. I want to go meet some people. I want to go buy some things that are authentic to where I'm at, and just to really utilize that as a life experience so that when I go back to my real life and I'm back into the routine of day to day, I can take that as something to push me forward and encourage me to do different things. Because now I've experienced something different. So I'm just going to be in the moment. I'm going to go have a good time.
You know what? That sounds like, I have a mentor. He always says, you can play hard and work hard, but, he calls it plurk. Play and work, you can plurk.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to be using that. I'm telling you.
I love it.
That. I love that. We don't play enough.
Do some plurking. You're right. It's
and
true.
That's really what got me into the children's books, because as adults, I can go tell a child the sky is turquoise, it's got yellow dots, and they're going to be like, Miss Lisa, when are the yellow dots coming? You tell an adult that, they're going to be like, girl, go sit down somewhere.
Right.
I just want to play. I want to have a good time.
I love it, girl. You are such a joy. You are truly a joy.
Thank you.
And I'm just so grateful to have you on this interview today. And and that leads me to this. I really appreciate you for just being transparent today and sharing your journey. And it's just been so inspiring. I didn't realize we had so much in common. We definitely have to stay connected. Absolutely. And before we end today, Lisa, if you can do us a favor, if you can just share one piece of guidance with our listeners, and then share the best way they can find you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay. The best advice I could give to any person that's looking to just start something of your own, whether it be a company, a nonprofit, a ministry, is just really figure out not only what you want to do, but why you want to do it. It's really the why that pushes me more so than the what, So if you can really dig deep on those particular reasons and really just be true and honest to yourself, stop thinking about what everyone else is going to think of. Oh, why is she or he looking to do this? You have to be in tune with that within yourself and have that conviction on, this is exactly why I want to do this and why I need to do this. That thing that keeps popping up every few weeks and it keeps reminding you of certain things, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So it's really being in tune with that and know when to apply that. The best way, of course, to get in contact with me, I would say, would be probably through social media, through my business page, whether it be Beauty Blackbook, or my personal page, which would just Lisa Marie. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so feel free to reach out. And I just hope that someone is able to walk away with something today that was helpful for them and encourage them to any degree. And I just appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. I'm giving you hugs, girl. I'm giving you hugs.
I'm giving you hugs back. I really enjoyed myself today. I really enjoyed myself.
Good. Me too. Well, for all of our listeners, and just so you know, you can also find everything that Lisa and I have been chatting about today at successtalkersradio.com/Lisa Marie, and it will all be there in the show notes page. So again, Lisa, I appreciate you. Thank you for being so generous with your time today. So we say thank you. And for all of you listening, thanks for tuning in. And until our next episode, keep stalking success. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. If you'd like to hear more from these inspiring entrepreneurs and entertainers, be sure to subscribe to the Success Stalkers Radio podcast on iTunes. And if you found value in this episode, give us a review, hopefully 5 stars. You may also visit us at successstalkers.com. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.